I was always an artist, and I had to learn how to be a business person. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I didn't have to learn how to be an artist. That was always there. The love of music and art was always there. But learning how to be a business person, it's just like a long road, especially for an artist, because we hate that stuff. Hey, what's up, guys?
What's going on? Nice to meet you. I've never seen you before in the past 5 minutes. I've never seen you.
Yeah, man.
So, we've actually been listening to a lot of your music. I don't know if Derek wants to kick it off, but the newest one. Hold on 1 second. I'm just.
Well, let's backtrack real quick because there's a couple things I just want to ask real quick. So, the first thing we usually ask is, are you working right now, or is COVID screwing up your job? What's going on there?
I'm doing some streams here and there by myself and with the band. And the donations have been pretty solid. So anybody who sees this who's donated, thank you very much. But also, no, I'm on unemployment.
Gotcha. Yes.
As are we.
Yeah. So is it like a furlough thing, or is it just complete, like you're just not employed?
I am just not employed. I'm looking for little part-time things here and there. I mean, up until this point, I have pretty severe asthma. Oh, so wow. I've been hiding out.
Yeah, pollen is brutal right now.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Hey, I don't know if you know about this website, but my sister has a really cool job on this. It's called flexjobs.com, and it's all internet-based jobs from home. So every job on there they offer you is just online, and you can do it from home.
Maybe I should look into it. I mean, I've been in my pajamas this whole time. I might as well just stay here as long as I can.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going back. Like, I think they gave us a date, but I don't know if I'm going to have a job. So I've been kind of searching it just in case to see if there's anything good.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of just cool jobs. Look, it's a lot of customer service stuff, but I figure if you could do it from home, like there's no commute. So
yeah,
I might jump on that.
Man. Absolutely.
I'll send you the text if you're interested, because it's a cool website.
Great. That'd be great.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. So, so your name is Nick. I'm assuming your nickname is Quincy and your name is James.
It's a nickname. Yep, my name's James. That's right.
So do you prefer one over the other?
No, I really don't mind either way. I'm not secretive about like my stage name and my real name. I'm not like, you know what I mean? It doesn't bother me whatsoever. If you know me, you know me. You call me whatever you want.
No? Gotcha. So we started this podcast in April, and we just wanted to connect with different musicians and just have a cool conversation. And I went on Facebook, and it was like, people you might not know who you want to add. And I think I saw, it may have been you who was on there, or one of your bandmates. And I clicked on it, and I said, what band are they in? And I found you on Spotify, and it snowballed from there. And then I listened to all your albums.
Oh, no way, dude.
Yeah. So
awesome.
Yeah, so Steve and I listened to I listened to all your music. I think Steve did too. And it's all three albums are all great in their own right. I can't, Steve and I, we're big into music. We're just humongous music fans. We have our band, the Cosmic Vultures. Yeah, we're big into music. We love studying music and understanding it. And it's just so, like, you have a really good track record of like everything you put out is pretty catchy, and there's no duds on your albums. And I appreciate that, because we're big into like making short albums, like 7-8 tracks or whatever, because we don't want the fat to be on there. There's no reason to put songs that you don't think are that good to be on there.
All killer, no filler. That's the way.
Exactly.
I like that.
But yeah, shooting off right into A Tale of Love and Evil 2014. Did you have the same lineup that you do now? Was that still the same band?
Pretty much completely different, with the exception of a couple tracks that have Robbie on it. For the most part, it was an original drummer and original bass player who started the band with me. And they laid down their tracks, but for the most part, all the harmonies and everything that you hear on there is basically me.
Really? Yeah. You do all the harmonies as well?
Yeah, on that album, yes. That album. Okay. But then, when we got into Beach Hill, we got into more recording as a group for the harmonies and stuff,
We'll get to
Gotcha.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. So Robbie is he like considered the lead guitar player in the band?
You know what? I don't think that we have a designated lead rhythm. I think it's that kind of blues mentality where it's like you're playing lead now and I'm playing lead next, and you wait your friggin' turn. You know what I mean? Like, you don't step on each other's toes. That's like one of the first things you learn in like rock and the blues is you don't step on your brother's toes. Everybody gets a chance to whatever.
Right. In our band, we have the opposite dynamic because I learned rhythm guitar and I only wanted to know rhythm guitar because I just wanted to sing over chords. So we've got a lead guitar player, and it was just like, okay, we know what our jobs are. Type thing.
Right. Dude, I mean, there's something to be said about that. That's a beautiful dynamic to have as well when somebody knows just and becomes the best at being that. Like everybody always talks about Bob Weir as like the best rhythm player. You know what I mean? He was never afraid to just be the rhythm player and let Jerry just kind of go into outer space.
Right.
Something to be said for that, for sure, man.
Everybody has their role.
Absolutely, dude.
You know?
Yeah, but that's cool because like your band dynamic that reminds me of like the Allman Brothers when like there's always like two guitar solos in a song and you're like, oh, who's this? Is this Derek Trucks or is this
one of this? We each got our own. It's kind of cool too because he chose the Vox amp sound and I chose a Fender sound, but we both play Strats. But for some reason, we managed to make it not sound like two Strats, like destroying your ears at the same time. Right. You know what I mean? Like we managed to like have a different sound. It's kind of cool.
That is really cool. Are you the lead? You're the lead vocalist, I'm assuming.
On most of the tracks, I guess. So that technically makes me the lead vocalist. Mm-hmm. But as we've gone on, I really love hearing other tones, especially within an album. I want to hear, like, if I wanted to just do my own songs, I would do my own thing. You know what I mean? But as far as being in a band, I want to be in a band. And if they can write songs and they all have great voices, why wouldn't they all sing? You know what I mean?
Exactly. Oh, for sure. You know, that's like the Beatles thing. It's like, how do you if you get four guys who can sing in a band, it's like unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's like I feel like I hit the jackpot, like you know what I mean? And they all have great musical sensibilities. They all have great attitudes. They're just like they become like my brothers, man. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's incredible. I wrote some notes on the first album, and I wrote down 4 songs. And so, like I said, you have a track record of having a lot of good songs, but I just had to pin it down to a couple so I could really like, okay, these are my favorites, I think. But I wrote down Quiver, of course, Ethanol, Heart to Break, and Mind Congestion. And Mind Congestion, I wrote Horn Part because I just couldn't get over how good the horns were in that song.
Yeah.
Just a cool, like, did you have like a guest horn player on there or something? Or
did his name is Andy. He absolutely crushed it. And he came in and he did it in like basically an hour because this guy, he apparently he is like part of huge orchestral arrangements. Like he does like I know he's done like he's been in the pit at like some of the theaters in Boston for like some.
Oh, cool.
You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
Like he's a pit musician, and he also he's been in. I think he's been on the Pops. I think he's been.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. So I don't know. I don't remember. A buddy of mine just gave me his number. I guess he was an acquaintance, and he just told me a price. I basically laid out what I wanted for the song, and he just ripped it. Absolutely ripped it. You know, because you know. He's classically trained, but he's also jazz and like can just do anything. It was awesome to watch.
That's amazing. Yeah, great track. It was flawless. The other one I mentioned, Heart to Break. The guitar work on there was just stellar.
Thank you.
It was just so good. It was fluid. It was just there's just always like something in a song that just catches me. I had to go back and listen to it again, type thing. It was really really good. And I'm sorry, before I let you go, Steve, to talk about it. Are you familiar with the band Cold War Kids?
I'm familiar with them, but I don't think I could tell you the song off the top of my
Okay,
head.
okay. I was just wondering because your vocals reminded me a little of that vocalist, and I was wondering if there was any influence. But the fact that there isn't, that's even better. That's
On
hilarious.
Heart to Break? Yeah. Oh, okay, cool. You know, it's funny. I was thinking about John Mayer when I wrote that song.
Not that specific one. Just I think in 3 or 4 tracks in a row, I was like, I'm like, it sounds like something. Cold War Kids, they have that hit. It's like hang me up to dry too many times. And you were singing something, and I was like, that kind of reminds me of Cold War Kids, but I wasn't sure. I couldn't place it, but I was just wondering.
I bet if I heard it, I would know.
Yeah, it's like one of their bigger songs. But anyway, those are my 4 favorites by far. Steve, did you want anything to add to this one, or?
Well, I had more notes on the newest one.
Okay.
I can wait till then, or if you want to keep going with this one.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So yeah, Beach Hill, 2017. This is the one that I first heard because when I first messaged you, I already had these songs playing, and I just picked a random thing and just clicked it. And I think the first one I heard was Mother Earth. And funny enough, that was the one that really attracted you guys to me because we look at ourselves as kind of a rock / funk group.
Right.
And that one is just so funky. It's so good. One of my favorite tracks out of all 3 albums by far. The other 3 that I picked were Love, Days, and Your Body.
Oh, Days is my favorite on that album.
Yeah, great one. Yeah, I just absolutely love it. It's like you know, the whole every one of your albums has a sort of like you can tell it's all the same album. That you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and there's a lot of albums I hear that I'm like, all right, well, these 8 tracks really don't have anything to do with each other, but yours are the complete opposite. It just sounds like these were the songs you had. Yeah, these were the songs you had, and you were like, we're gonna record these. This is the project.
That was my big. I mean, it's funny that you mentioned that because that was my biggest, like note to the guy who was mixing it and the place we were recording it, the engineer that was recording us, is that the songs already had taken care of themselves when we wrote them. As far as making an album, I want it to sound like everything goes. You know what I mean? Like you notice one of the biggest things for me is not having any spaces between the tracks.
Love that.
First album didn't really get to do that. There's a couple moments where you get a little bit of that on the first album, but with Beach Hill, it almost sounds like a really well-produced practice. You know what I mean? Or like a really well-produced like show at a bar almost. Right. You know what I mean? Like that's Absolutely. What I'm kind of going for. Like it's fun and it feels like we just never stop.
Right. And everything is so cohesive. It's not like you went into another song that had nothing to do with the last one. Right. It almost sounded like it was like different chapters of a book.
Exactly.
Which were really cool. Because when I was growing up, the Beatles were a big thing for me, and they still are. Yeah. They're my favorites.
Yes.
But like Sgt. Pepper, like that was like a story within itself, and I was just like, how can I do this someday?
I know.
Yeah, exactly. And they reminded me of that. You know, Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon, like things like that, like just incredible. Those first 2 albums are just great, man. But yeah, Steve, I'll let you take the reins on The Woods Look Good.
That album's amazing. To me, it's a masterpiece. I listened to it all the way through.
Thanks.
Every track, I'm just like, what? Like it's another solid track. Another solid track. What? I did a couple choice cuts. I lose the phrase on this one. A Day in the Park. That's on that. That is on that album, right?
That's my favorite song out of all 3 albums.
Wow. Thank you.
The guitar riff on that, it's got this cool offbeat shuffle thing on guitar.
Yes.
I'm horrible impression, but
all the credit goes to Robbie on that one. That's a riff that he had for a while.
Excellent.
We helped him organize the parts, but that was all Robbie is on the guitar riff.
The guitar riff, the whole song, just in and of itself, it's freaking amazing. So I really like that one. Backside, that one I just wrote on my notes. Killer guitar solo, and the tone. Was that you on that one?
That was me. Yeah.
Oh man, freaking amazing! And the tone you had reminded me of Money on Dark Side of the Moon with the guitar solo on Money.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, dude.
Tracks that's like that. That's that tone. If that was a setting on an effects board, you want the Dark Side of the Moon Money tone?
Yeah.
That's what that was.
I'll tell you a secret.
Okay.
My guitar. See those pickups?
Nice.
David Gilmour signature pickups.
Oh.
And that's probably why I can get that tone out of there, dude. Like, because they're active. and this is a gain boost. It's not even a tone knob. So when I crank that up, it's like it just got a whole different set of sonic stuff going on, dude. It's great.
They replicated that to a T then, because that's like that. It is something good. Now, were you the one? You're the one with the Fender amp or the Vox?
Fender. Yep. Fender, just the Fender Deluxe, simple, basic.
Deluxe.
Yeah.
Oh man, it was so good, and it was like flash me. Like it wasn't the song like as a whole wasn't. I'm not saying it was the same as Money at all. I'm just saying the tone. It was just such Gilmore. Just it was just I could take.
He was my first. He was one of my first guys as far as like solo stuff. You know, because the melodic, you can't beat the level of melody that he structured his solos with. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and his whole like less is more is like amazing.
That's the key to all blues in my mind, and all music really. It's the space. Give it space.
Couldn't said it better. We were talking about this in one of our last episodes about how like the spaces between the notes and the music, even like the pauses,
more important than the notes themselves. Yeah. Absolutely.
And we were talking about classical music, how you could hear sometimes the piano player turn a page or breathe. It's like so real.
It's so real, dude. I'll take that any day over like an overproduced, like something that just sounds like it's too perfect. You want to hear somebody like wipe a little shit away from their mouth when they're singing. You know what I mean? Like that's it for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're still nailing it.
Yep.
There's actually an album by Julian Lennon, John Lennon's first son, and he I forget what the album's called, but the last track on the album, you can just hear him smoking a cigarette before he starts playing piano. Yeah. And I was like, he's so badass to me.
So badass, dude. Yeah, that's awesome, man. I love that stuff. I love that.
The Devil's Abode, man. I mean, come on. That is just like theatrical. The vocal effects, the guitar playing, the rhythm and the lead were great on that.
Thanks, man.
Dude, just great. I have a theater background, so I love when artists do that. Like that kind of like that fun, like external characters in a song type thing.
You can hear the people talking to each other. That's what I was going for. Hopefully someday this year, it's, man, this whole year was supposed to be, I was supposed to make it this year, man.
Yeah.
But, everybody's saying the same.
Right.
But we really did have a whole myriad of videos and things that we had planned out through, actually the people that recorded the album are also amazing at videos. I don't know if you guys have checked out any of our videos, but Revelry Studios up in Manchester, New Hampshire, we have concepts upon concepts for the new album, for videos, for the new songs, and just like this whole thing just put a damper on everything, man.
Right.
So Devil's Abode is one of those ones where I always envision this has to be a video. It has to have the characters in it. You see the devil, you see the person that he's trying to tempt. You know what I mean? There's costumes, there's makeup. It's like the real deal. And we were going to make it happen. It's just like,
Well,
eventually,
when things start swinging back in motion here, then just pick it right back up. Don't get discouraged.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that.
We want to see that video in production.
Yeah, we're. Oh, go ahead, Steve. I'm sorry.
No, I was probably gonna say the same thing you did. You were gonna.
I was gonna say Seven Witches. I don't know if you were gonna go there.
Well, actually, I was thinking more of like what we often like brainstorm what we want in a music video, and like what you were just saying is like what we think. It's like, we want characters, and often it's just like our ideas exceed our budget by like thousands.
Of course. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Wouldn't it be, I was like one time, wouldn't it be cool if we set like a replica courtroom in the woods, and we had the werewolf, and the jury was all puppets? And I'm like, just way out of the budget. It's just like I was like, Steve, I was just thinking about maybe we could walk in the woods. And you're talking about a courtroom in the woods? I want to set a courtroom up in the woods for one of our videos, but it'll happen eventually, I think.
Yeah.
So we get a baby grand piano. It's in the middle of the field.
So we smashed the first baby grand. We need 3 of these things. We're going to need 3.
Yeah.
One of them's going to be on fire. The other 2 are going to fall off a building.
It's going to land on somebody. So someone's going to
land on somebody, and they're going to survive because it's not going to be real. It's going to be a dummy.
Right.
The most expensive dummy of all time.
Exactly.
So I'm assuming you're a big album guy.
Oh, dude. I I honestly, I respect the fact that nowadays people are so the music industry is so built upon song, and not necessarily albums. I respect that because it's you got to grow with the times and you got to be able to like adapt and figure out ways to get your music out there. But at the same time, like for me personally, I love I love sitting and listening to an album all the way through, but it has to be like a cohesive thing. Otherwise, it just feels like I'm listening to like a greatest hits or something. You know what I mean?
Right. Yo, absolutely, absolutely.
Um, but
Um,
but you know, I feel like it's sad. Like I've come to the conclusion that I can't expect other people to subscribe to that way of listening to music. Like younger people that just
right.
they just
Right.
don't get it. You know what I mean? Which is sad, but at the same time, it's like you can't force that kind of thing. Like younger people who are cool and think differently than their peers maybe will get that, and that's a
Right.
beautiful thing. You know what I mean?
I think it's almost a skill you learn over time because I think this problem has persisted for decades. You know, it's like you
Yes.
just pay attention to the hits, or do you go deep dive and listen to
You
the
go
whole
deep.
album?
Right, exactly. So then when you think of it that way, there's always the cool kids that figure it out.
Exactly,
The
exactly.
basics that no offense to anybody who doesn't listen to full albums or anything. But like, you know what I
Well,
mean? Go deep diving.
Yes.
I'm an angry music listener because I get angry because I'm like you, or you guys are bold for releasing 3 full-length albums. A lot of people we talk to nowadays, they're just all EPs, and that's fine. 4 or 5 songs are good, because you get that and people won't listen to a full thing, so maybe 4 or 5 songs works. But Steve and I, we're just like album freaks. Like I have to listen to and what I do is I like to. There's one thing that Steve knows about me that I absolutely hate, and that is when an album's released. For instance, let's say John Lennon's Plastic Ono Band, the first solo record he released, absolute unbelievable, 11 songs. It ends with that really, really weird "My Mummy's Dead" song, but it was re-released by a different label, and they added "Power to the People," which was a random single he put out, and that song has nothing to do with the way he felt when he made that album. And it absolutely ruined it because I was like, why would they add this track just to make more money? This has nothing to do with the 11 tracks that he put on there.
Right.
And it bothered me for days. I don't know why things just get to me like that.
Just stuck in your craw.
I was like, why would they ruin this?
It has
album
record company written all over it. This has
Right.
Try like the
cash grab.
the 2013 reissue Japanese version with 4 extra tracks. I'm like, okay, that's clearly a money machine,
But to me, it's just if the album flows, like it when you hear it. It's just like I with several other albums I've listened to in the past, and going back to this newest album you guys have, I listened to it all the way through. And the last song on there, I have notes from Misery, probably my favorite song on the whole album. It starts off with that dirty, slow blues, and it goes into that epic chorus with the brilliant harmonies. Really digging on that, and also again, I noted the guitar tone is freaking amazing. It's got that money, like you just said, the freaking Gilmore pickups on your guitar does the thing justice. But my favorite part of this song is at the very end. It's like you think the song is over, then it goes. Do you like Incubus? Are you a fan of Incubus?
I am. Yeah, I like their. I'm gonna sound like a hipster, but I like their earlier stuff a lot.
Me too. I have them stuff on record, and it's just I'm specifically thinking of the end of Morning View. I think it's called Aqueous Transmission, right? It's when the song stops and it's just crickets, and it sounds like you're in the woods. That's exactly.
Did they do that too?
Yeah, I'm surprised. I thought you guys got that from there.
Dang it.
But no, it's
I didn't.
no. But
of the woods, you know what I mean? I just thought of the.
But it's not too similar. It's like, oh, that's Incubus. It just has a taste of Incubus. And so I thought it was like a perfect blend of that effect from the Incubus album. And then the guitar comes in, and immediately I think of Going to California by Led Zeppelin.
Oh, yeah. That riff is definitely inspired by Jimmy Page. Like
holy crap.
White Summer and Going to California.
Yeah. So this song, it's all over the place in the best of ways. It starts off with that dirty, almost Derek Trucks kind of style blues, right? He does I don't know if you do the slide, but you might as well have, because it sounds like it would go really well with the slide.
Thanks,
So
man.
it starts off with the Dirty Blues. That chorus, again, it's just super epic. It's just like boom, and that the guitar solo is amazing. And again, that ending is just the perfect blend of that Incubus Morning View style ending for like 3 minutes, which is cool. And I thought that was just gonna go on for like one of those tracks, like, oh, it's just gonna be crickets for a while. Then the acoustic guitar comes in. I'm like, holy crap, this. And again, to me, this album's a masterpiece.
Thank you so much, man. That was like, honestly, I can't even thank you enough to hear that from you, because, I had to kind of battle with a couple of the, not like battle in like a negative way, but like a creative differences kind of discussion with some of the people in the band and the producer who Matt Blanchett, who produced it, about adding these little tidbits to connect the songs and like the hidden track at the end and everything. I just I have to kind of fight for that kind of stuff. Well, but I always find that it pays off, because then there's people that notice it, and it actually like makes the album for them. And I'm like, yes.
That's really good. I'm glad you did fight for it, because with those extra things. And again, this is what listening to an album is about. It's a journey from start to finish. And
right. Exactly.
It's not just an assembly of songs just to get a hit. It is a story from start to end, and that tells a really cool story.
I appreciate it.
And it's listening to it at all the albums, I can tell that there was a vision behind it, and that speaks volumes. I can tell while listening to it, especially, I was like, I almost felt like, I could be wrong, but I felt like you didn't do too many takes on guitar, because it just sounded like you knew what you were doing. You knew what was going on.
It varied from song to song, but yeah, for the most part, if I didn't do only a few takes, usually if I did a lot of takes, we'd end up using like take number 1 or 2. You know what I mean? Like, you get it right the first time, and you're like, no, I can do it better and better and better. And then 10 takes later, you're like, oh shit, it's just getting worse. Like,
right.
Time around.
Yep.
Yeah.
You got to hit it on the first time's the best. The first time's the best.
You got all the sauce, you know what I mean? Yep. And then you just like, you're getting like limper and limper as the time goes on,
Right.
You make the ziti and meatballs, right? That's the sauce initially. It's nice. The sauce is everywhere, but you put it in the fridge, you take it out. Now, where'd the sauce go? It disappeared.
I know, it diminished.
It's just like spaghetti. It's just like
only
so many times.
I'm assuming we're all Italian, because we all understand that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. All right.
I'm the Sicilian guy with the Smith last name. It's kind of annoying.
But not the Smith hair or beard, my friend.
All right.
No, we're all Italian.
Yeah, I'm so happy that I was able to catch you guys. Obviously it was by accident, because we're from the North Shore, so we know a lot of North Shore type bands. And I did some research and found you guys. I'm so glad I did. So you had mentioned the Middle East, so I'm assuming you guys come up here and play all the time.
The Middle East, yeah, we did the upstairs once. It's actually when we do Boston, we tend to do smaller rooms, because we've been working on building up there. I gotta be honest, man, the South Shore for shows lately has been like out of control.
What?
There's a lot of good bands down here, and it doesn't feel as much of like you're competing with a bunch of random bands that like have 3 people that are going to come to the show, and you know what I mean? Like down here, there's like a select group of people that play all the time, and we all get along with each other. There's no competition. We all support each other, and like we're so welcoming of other bands that want to come down here. And there's a few venues that are specific to what I'm talking about, which is like New World Tavern in Plymouth, Pins in Kingston, which is like a bowling alley, but it's a venue that holds like 350 people at the same time.
Damn.
Legit sound system. I don't know if you guys saw Looks Good Live, the live video that we put out.
I haven't seen it yet, no.
Oh, okay. So we filmed it there, and there was 350 people. It was the album release for The Woods Look Good, but we filmed the show. And like the support down here is just unreal, man. As far as Boston, I love Boston. There's a ton of good bands up there. It's just harder to get it's harder to get people out. You know what I mean? Unless you're like really selling tickets.
And the venues are all the venues are going away. Great Scott is gone, and
the scene is disappearing up in Boston because we did play in Boston before all this shutdown happened, but
yeah,
we played a lot of places, Middle East. We played in Cambridge a bunch of places, Somerville.
Love Middle East.
You hearing that middle? I don't know. I could be wrong, but I heard the Middle East was shutting down.
It has new ownership.
Yeah, it might be a rumor. But there was this even in Beverly. We played in Beverly, and there's a place like Spotlight Tavern. I don't know if you've ever played there before, but it used to be this cool place with a back deck and like 2 bars. Such a cool music venue, shut down. All these cool places, man. And I think in general, maybe it's something to do with Boston specifically that I feel the local music scene is suffering. And that's really cool to hear that the South Shore seems to be thriving on that local music scene.
It's picked up in the past couple of years, and I think partly due to Levitate Music Festival in Marshfield. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Yep.
I've heard of it. You guys played there before?
Yeah, so we actually filled in for somebody who dropped out at the last second in 2017. And then they asked us to come back the next year, in 2018, as an official part of the lineup, which was amazing for us. You know what I mean? There's 15,000 people that show up at the Marshfield Fairground, and they have humongous headliners. It's the owners of the Levitate Surf Shop in Marshfield. They're called their last name is the Hassets. They're Dan Hassett, and he just believes in the local talent and bringing together local talent that deserves to be seen on a stage that size. You know what I mean?
Wow. That's wicked cool.
Yeah, dude, it's unbelievable. Jack Johnson was supposed to headline this year.
Oh, no way.
And they had to reschedule, but they managed to reschedule the entire lineup and just plop it into 2021.
Good.
You know what I mean?
But that's cool. That's cool. We need more people like that and positions of power to give small bands or small to medium bands a chance to, if they deserve, they're so good, they deserve to play in front of that big crowd, and that's really cool to hear.
Yeah, man, it's like nothing else we've ever experienced, and it basically gave us our platform to jump off and do more of what we were trying to do. You know what I mean? It's like just like a dream come true. The last minute fill-in thing, it was like something out of a movie, dude. I swear to God.
You never know. That's why you always gotta be ready for that call.
Man, that's it.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're always kind of for me. I've gone through topsy-turvy thoughts in my brain about what is fame, what is us climbing the ladder, what is it exactly? Because I look at bands like I said, the first band I ever heard was the Beatles, and I said I want to do that, and my dad goes, "Well, that's a tough order right there. You're picking the best." And I said, "Yeah, you're right." And but I'm trying to figure out in my mind. A couple years ago, I was like, "Guys, we got to climb the ladder. We got to play big places." And then I realized, I'm like, where are we going at that point? Am I just looking to tour the country? Am I looking to, what's the top? What is the top? At this point. So I realized, and this is actually during the pandemic, I realized that if I'm happy with what we're doing, if I feel happiness, that's the end all be all for me. Because I was searching for so long. Like, if we don't get to play, the Garden someday or something like that, who cares? I mean, I think if I was happy with the music we made, I think I have to find a way to be satisfied.
That's the thing. You got to be able to and the thing is when you start to project that energy of just being confident in what you're doing and knowing that you could do those things if you were presented with the opportunity, those opportunities will start to come because you're not focused on the opportunities. You're focused on being at the best of what you're doing right now and keeping your head down and plowing through. And then the next thing you know, you look up after a year and you're like, whoa, look where I was a year ago. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's the key to everything. And you may never get to that huge
let's face it. I mean, 99% of the bands don't. I mean,
no, exactly. But there's
you
hundreds and hundreds of really, really, really good bands that focused on trying to get there. But guess what?
Right.
We all love them. You know what I mean? Like there's tons of bands that never get to that point that I love to death, that you can respect. They gain the respect of their peers and the fans who come to see them, and they'll never be as big as the Beatles, but it doesn't matter because you know what I mean? Like a good example is like Ween.
Ween.
Yeah, dude.
Hell yeah.
Ween has such a unique cult following, but to me, if I could be as popular as Ween, if I could get to where they're at, that is like, how could you ever ask for anything more, dude? Their fans are so loyal. They absolutely like gobble up everything that they do. It's like, and they get to do whatever the hell they want. They don't have to fit into any kind of box or anything like that. You know what I mean? Like,
that's the best right there. It's like you're in and there is different types of success. You know, you have the standard, your average person, like, oh, if you
Katy Perry, or no offense to Katy Perry, but like that's an example of like all the way up here. You know what I mean? Like,
well, let me ask you a question. Sorry, Steve. You can go.
No, good.
Quincy, do you think that a band needs a machine behind them? Meaning they need marketing, they need a label. Do you think they really need something behind them to push them to that level? And the reason, again,
go ahead.
No, so the reason why I ask is because like Chance the Rapper, somebody like him, for so many years they were like, oh, he's independent, he's doing everything himself. And then I did find out that he does have a machine behind him. He's not just independent. There's always people who are like, hey, we'll get you out in front. And I'm wondering, do we need that, or is it possible for a band to just do it all themselves?
I think that there's a certain level of doing it by yourself that you can get extremely successful. And if you really have to have the right kind of mind for it, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, coming up with a logo that catches your eye that nobody's ever seen before, or, you know, developing a sound that stands out from every other sound that you've ever heard, you know what I mean? Or, but for the most part, if you want to have that professional level of quality, in just at the very basic level of having good quality music, you got to have some kind of money behind you. You know what I mean? Like, just having good artwork and good music and a good presentation, that takes money. You know what I mean? Putting on a good stage show, that takes money behind you for the gear that you have with you. You can't, at a certain point, if you want to be professional, at the very least, just call yourself professional. You have to have decent gear. You know what I mean?
Right. It's really strange when I think about, like, for instance, Weezer. I don't have any problem with them whatsoever. Only that I know that their live shows are known to be like, they're absolutely stiff. They don't do a lot on stage. They stand there and they play guitar and they sing their songs. There's not a lot of show. I don't know if it changed, but I remember in the past that was the case. And I wonder if, like,
Eagles are the same way too.
Yeah, like I wondered if at one point, like, these people were like, hey, Weezer, we can get you on the charts because your songs are good enough. We'll work on your other stuff, but your songs are good enough. So I figure Weezer got there because the music was good enough. Then somebody like Milli Vanilli from the 90s that didn't even say, they're like, hey, you guys are pretty. You're pretty looking. So you guys can't
dance and all that.
You can't sing, but don't worry about that. We'll fix it live. We'll have singers. It's always like there's always a route for these money-making machines being like, hey, do you want to make it? Because we know we can make money off of you. You have the look or you have the sound.
Right.
So it's like,
I guess if the music's good enough and you get enough plays on the radio, it doesn't matter what you do on stage. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Paycheck's coming in either way. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Like, and they're still selling the tickets. So
venues don't really care. I think Derek was a friend of ours was advising us on like the bar, the venue. They don't care how good you are at your instrument. If you could literally go on stage and take a dump, if there's
people in the friggin' crowd buying beers, that's
you
it.
Will be
exactly. Beer drinking bodies. That's it.
That's it. They don't care. If the people asses are in the seats, they're selling alcohol. That's their bottom line. I mean, whatever.
Exactly.
But that is the nature of the beast, and you have to balance the two. And you know, the artistic vision and the business side often, you know, it's like they don't really mix. But you somehow have to figure out how to make it work.
Figure out how to make that work. See, that's the thing is like the artistry for people like us seems to come a lot easier than the business mind, because it's like you want to protect your little thing that you made, your baby that you have in your hands, and you're like, no, this is not like something that you can just like it's worth more than just playing in your stupid bar. Like, you don't understand, you know what I mean? Yeah. But it's like, if you're not paying your bills, if you're not like you know what I mean? Like, I always look at it like I was always an artist and I had to learn how to be a business person. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I didn't have to learn how to be an artist. That was always there. The love of music and art was always there. But learning how to be a business person it's just like a long road, especially for an artist, because we hate that stuff.
It's like
Right.
yeah, they don't mix. It's just and that's the key. That's the hard part, is trying to figure out how to make the two work in conjunction with each other.
Totally.
Well, it's like, I can, just by listening to the Quins, you can tell that there's an authenticity about you guys. You can tell that it's your baby. That's what I can hear. It's your thing. So when I hear like, pop music in nowadays where they have like, hey, listen, I even read an article about this. They were like, we need to get 10 writers in there, get that singer, write a hit and get it on the radio as soon as possible. That to me isn't music. That's just industry. And It's not something that makes me like excited, like, or when I hear that Roger Waters and Dave Gilmour and Pink Floyd got together and they're like, we're going to make this tremendous album where we're going to spend tons of time in tape loops and all kinds of sounds. That's art, that's the difference. And I'm wondering if somebody came up to me and said, here's a check, look at this check. And I said to them, well, my album's not a product, it's my baby. And then I see the money and I go, oh, okay, yeah, I will take that. It is a product now. Like, that's a lot of money.
No, I'm just kidding.
But the thing is like when they give you that check, you can say to yourself, oh, well, I can like become somebody who doesn't care as much about art now that I have the money. I don't have to worry as much about the art. But then also you can take that check and say, hey, if I can make this art without any of this money, imagine what I could make with all this money. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's my ultimate goal. I'll tell you a secret right now. The ultimate goal for me is to be able to never have to worry about what I want to make. I just know that I can make it, and there's no price limit on what I want to make, how ridiculous it is, or how like grandiose it is, or whatever. All I want to do is be able to make something as extravagant as I see in my head. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's the goal. That's the real goal of a real artist, not to get all the cars and you know what I mean? Like
right, exactly.
Right.
Just to cut out all the
freedom. That's what it is.
Cut all the red tape involved in the creative process.
Exactly. I was I'm a big Joe Rogan fan, and I was watching Billy Corgan from the Smashing Pumpkins on there, and he was talking about the same thing about how it's about art and all this stuff. And then he goes, well, I will say that I did walk into a car dealership and I bought a Ferrari with cash. But he's like, that's besides the point. And I was like, that son of a bitch.
Dude,
he had me the whole time.
You're not going to complain. You're not going to complain if you can do that.
Yeah.
Who you are, man. Like, you're not going to be complaining if that's the situation that you're in.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. But there's two questions I always ask people on this because I think they're really interesting. The first one, if you could open for any artist or any band in the history of music, it would be the Quins opening, and then this band would play second. Who do you think it would be?
Oh, shoot, man.
I know it's a tough one. Top of your head, spur of the moment.
Top of my head, probably Nirvana.
Nirvana? Nice.
Yeah. Just like right off the top of my head. Just because that show would be insane. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Something about three-piece bands that are just like, I don't know, they're just powerful.
Dude, early Nirvana too, those shows, if you see footage from those early Nirvana shows, people are just going insane. All over the stage, just like Kurt's falling all over the place. Like, you just know it'd be a blast.
I wonder if it was like, because I'm a little bit too young because I was born 87, so I wasn't, specifically when they were doing their thing, my brain wasn't there. But I'm wondering if the people in the crowd were like, we're experiencing something special here, or if they're just going nuts just to go nuts.
I think you know what it was is that Nirvana was in a big group of bands that were kind of all doing the same thing, like Dinosaur Jr. and like Hole and all those like crazy Soundgarden. And like, all the shows for those bands are pretty much the same. Nirvana just somehow tapped into this one sound that nobody had heard before and just skyrocketed. And that's why they're the ones that everybody always talks about.
Right.
But to me, I feel like any of those shows back then would have been exactly the same. Just people falling all over each other and going crazy in the crowd. You know what I mean? But I mean, maybe some people were like, holy shit, these guys are special. Like, somebody had to have said that at one point, I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, even when I saw Smells Like Teen Spirit, the music video, I was like, this is different,
Yeah, like, I've never heard anything like this. And even the bands that came after that, like the aftermath of grunge, the butt rock that came after that, just you could tell it's like, oh, they're trying to sound like them. You know what I mean?
Right,
like,
right.
Can't fake that shit.
Yeah, or how many singers try to sound like Eddie Vedder after the fact.
Exactly. Yes.
It was like insanity.
Well, that's what it is. You have these artists every couple decades or however often. It's just they strike musical oil and
Right.
gold, and then you have this period of replication and refinement after that, and then then you get a period of crap music, and then another generation strikes musical oil again. Oh, another gold mine there.
Another wave of all these bands. Yeah, exactly.
You have Discovery.
Back Sunday clones. There was a lot of those.
Yeah,
dude.
yeah. I remember being in middle school, and everybody was in a garage band who everybody wanted to be Nirvana, and I was like, oh yeah, and I learned Nirvana stuff on guitar. So
yeah,
it's funny. I was always like, yeah, I get what you're saying, but like, have you heard Rubber Soul? And they're like, what the hell are you talking about?
come out like, isn't that like 40 years old? Dude?
Yeah, they were like,
screw you and your dinosaur rock.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Why don't you go hang out with my grandpa?
Dad rock, yeah. I wonder if this is going to be grandpa rock soon. It was dad rock.
It is, dude. It is grandpa rock.
Grandpa rock.
It is, but it's the best.
I saw Paul McCartney in New York a couple of years ago, and like he played for 3.5 hours straight. I couldn't even stand up for that long.
Dude, he's just the best. He just
he's
you know what I mean? With the exception for a live show of Prince, I think he's probably the best.
Oh man, Prince, that's another one.
Dude.
Yeah.
Beast live.
I just listened to his final show. It was from his piano and a microphone tour.
Oh, cool.
It's available on YouTube. It's if you look up Prince final show. It must be like a cell phone recording because it's not the greatest, but you just hear the way that he commands that crowd. It's like insanity. You think for like a few seconds that he's going to lose them, but he's had them in his hands the whole time. He wants them to think that he's losing them, and then he's just
Prince did whatever. There's one show I was watching recently, and he did it with the full band in the second set. I guess he came out and just did an hour of just him on acoustic guitar.
Yeah, dude.
In front of a stadium. I'm gonna play
owning the entire stadium.
Right. And it was like it wasn't just a couple songs, it was a huge chunk of the show. It was just him. And he's riffing about how he used to be friends with Paramount Record or some record company, right? And he's what is it?
Oh, some record company? I don't know.
Right. Yes, the song, he just riffing. Some record company used to be his friend, but he got smart and that's why he changed his name from Prince to the artist formerly known.
The artist formerly known. Yeah.
That would enabled him to retain all the rights to his songs, so he kind of was able to keep control of his music just by legally changing his name, which was crazy. Pretty cool. So he actually. So it's a dirty game, with the record companies. They just
seriously, man. Yeah. I know. I can't even imagine. We never got to that level. We've been independent this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
So,
it's like they're that necessary evil, though. That's like they're pure evil, but you kind of need a little bit of it.
You need a little bit.
It's they're the dragon, and you have to know how to tame the dragon.
But there's that famous line from Gangs in New York when Leonardo DiCaprio was underneath Daniel Day-Lewis, even though he killed his father. And
he's like, it's strange being underneath the wing of a dragon. It's warmer than you think. And maybe when you're under a contract, it's like, well, I still have a contract to make 7 albums, so that's not bad.
I'm buying Ferraris like I buy sandwiches.
Exactly. Exactly. If somebody said you have to make 7 albums or we're gonna sue you and we're gonna pay for the albums, I'd be like, oh God, that sounds horrible. I can't, geez, what a horrible thing I have to do is make 7 albums.
Damn it.
With a big studio budget. Like, I'm so upset.
Any instrument at my beck and call, whatever I want, I just order.
I think my goal in life is
to be under contract, to be in a studio, and they're spending thousands of dollars on this album, and they come in to see how it's going, and I'm like, I'm gonna need another 6 months and another $20,000. And see their faces, like, you're a son of a bitch. Who do you think you are? Who the fuck do you think you are?
Yeah, they couldn't easily. It's a scary business, and the thing is it's not even like that anymore. And I think, especially after this, the record companies were already on their way down. I think this is the final nail in the coffin.
You're right.
for the music industry as we know it. I think it's going to be completely different coming back. Now, I don't have any revolutionary ideas on how it's going to be, but from my perspective, it's not going to be anything close to the way it was.
What do you think it would be, though, if you had to guess? Like, how do you envision the music industry?
I just feel like more smaller companies, smaller, more personal companies are going to be able to have power in the industry to get bands, that maybe handle like 1 or 2, 3, 4 really good bands, touring bands that they can book in any festival and on any bill. You know what I mean? Like more personalized management instead of these giant corporations that manage these bands.
Wow. So it's a little more decentralized in a way.
Yes. And I think it's already heading in that direction. You know
That's
what I mean?
cool. I think there is a common theme when people with technology and what we're just talking about music seems to be when we're talking about the next 10 years, what the future will be. In the key word I keep coming across is decentralized, because I'm into a side hobby of mine. I'm into like cryptocurrencies, and I like to discover that, explore that world, like the Bitcoin stuff. And it's a terrible thing to invest your money in because you'll just lose it. But it's interesting to me. And there, part of the allure of that is basically the revolutionizing the whole financial industry and making it decentralized, where you are your own bank. And that's what this technology will do in the future. You will eventually, with your phone, become your own bank. And I think that's like, you see this in finance, technology, and maybe the same is true for music. Maybe in music, this is going to be a decentralized future. And I think it's going to be an interesting world in the next 10 years.
I think that's going to be the case for every facet of the future. Like everything is going to be more inside of a bubble.
Mm-hmm.
And the bubble is going to have fewer and fewer people in it as time goes on. This bubble, I'm in my little bubble over here with these people. You're in yours. We can all stay connected, but we're all still in our own little bubbles.
Do you think there won't be as much interconnectedness with that?
With the giant corporations that just have millions and millions and millions of just like gross amounts of money. Just like, I don't see that. How can it work? It can't work for much long. It doesn't feel sustainable to me.
I don't know. I think it will. If all these people that like, there's going to be the world's first trillionaires pretty soon. And I think the wealth gap might further increase. Like, you're going to have trillionaires walking around. Like,
I think it'll get that big, but then it's going to go pop big time.
Really? Okay.
How I feel about it anyways.
Especially when you consider, even, not to go off on a tangent here. It's like, especially when you talk about trillionaires and, you talk about what money actually is. We could have a whole episode of what money, and off your
right. And I don't even fully understand it. I honestly try to actively avoid that world, even in my peripheries, just because I'll never be able to focus on anything musically, which is what I really should be focused.
Yeah, no, that's a much better.
I'm not going to be good at money. I'm not going to be good at math. I just need to play this guitar and keep.
Well, it's depressing too. The more you research this stuff, it's like it makes you very optimistic in a way. It's just like
absolutely. And
that's why
melancholy and like what's the word when you don't give a shit. You don't give a shit about anything.
Apathetic.
Apathetic, exactly.
So yeah, I think when and you can go down those rabbit holes, but I think it's better to focus on your art and music, and just do that, because in the end, you can't change any other crap. So, but the thing you can change is yourself and the art you put out to the world. And I think that's a much more doable endeavor, and it's much more rewarding as well.
Yeah. Sorry for cursing, by the way. I don't know if you're gonna have to bleep me.
No, not at all. We swear a lot. We've been trying to tone it down. We're still trying to find out our target market here.
I got you, man. I'm sorry. So, you can bleep me if you want.
Some tasteful swearing is actually encouraged, just in the right amounts. It's fine.
Okay. Cool.
But yeah, man. I think Derek. Did you freeze? Is Derek frozen?
Oh, there.
Is he frozen? I don't know if I. Yo, are you still there, Derek?
Oh, yeah, I think he is.
Can you hear us? Can you hear
Derek?
I think he froze.
Uh-oh.
Well, if we can't get him back, yeah, man, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you, man. It was really nice to talk to you guys. I hope we can play a show together.
Dude, that'd be amazing. If bands are allowed to play, because we had a show booked actually this month, and the guy was like, "Yeah, we're pushing it off till the end of the year." We're like, "Damn it!"
Jeez.
So we had a lot of gigs, just like you guys. We had a lot of gigs booked for the next couple months. So the summer is always huge up here. It's like the summer. That's all you bank on the summer, because that's like a huge part of what you can do in New England. Because the winter is just, it's hard enough to get people out in Boston to come to your show, let alone in the winter.
Let alone in the wintertime. I know, man.
Terrible.
Parking is like even worse than it normally is, and it's never good anyways.
What's that?
Parking in the city is even worse than it normally is in the winter, and it's horrible to begin with. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, it's undoable, unworkable or something.
We lost Derek.
All right, well, yeah, that's fine. We can wrap it there. I mean, we usually end with a couple questions, trivia, like hypotheticals. Who would you rather go out to dinner with and all that stuff? But we can do it again, maybe in a month or two. We'll see.
Anytime.
Oh, you know what? He actually we'll see if he gets back in here.
Okay.
We'll give him one more shot here. Are you there?
Hey.
Are you there?
Sorry, my AirPods died, and then I couldn't get regular volume on my phone.
Oh, good.
So yeah, we were actually just probably going to wrap it up, unless you want to do one more of those hypotheticals.
One more question. Sorry about the whole thing. If you could this is kind of a crazy question, so I know you'll change your mind in another day, but spur of the moment, if you could have dinner with any 3 people in history, they don't have to be musicians either, but any 3 people you could think of that make a really cool discussion.
Anybody that would, interesting conversation.
Anybody.
We've had some crazy actors, keep in mind. We've had like Alice Crowley. So like
man, that would be kind of crazy. I think I'd probably just go with rock stars, man. They'd be so much fun to talk to. Like okay, how about Gary Busey? Gary Busey.
Whoa.
John Frusciante from the Chili Peppers.
He's back.
He's back. Well, he was supposed to be.
Right.
Right. Oh, damn it.
I know. And then somebody cool, man. Richard Pryor.
Ooh, love Richard.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Very cool.
That would be a weird one, wouldn't it? Those 3 guys.
I feel like Busey and Pryor would go at it a little bit.
Yes, and that's what I'd be counting on. Absolutely. 100%.
You're just counting on it, right?
Yeah. You know what? Comics are way more interesting than musicians, I think. They're like the best, dude.
Yeah.
Maybe I would change mine to Bill Hicks, Richard Pryor, and Robin Williams.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Man, Robin Williams was like, that's like the death that hurt me the most in my lifetime.
Bro, I guess I actually, what's funny? I watched an episode of the episode of Louis, Louis C.K.'s old
I saw that one.
The one where he meets Robin Williams at the grave of that guy that they both hated.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's funny, I looked up how he died, and I guess he had some kind of dementia that was causing him not to like he probably wouldn't have done that if it wasn't for his like mental illness that he had going on.
Well, who had
kind of made me almost feel weirdly better about it in a way. Like if he was in his right frame of mind, it might not have happened. Like if he was on the proper medication or something, like you know what I mean. So it still sucks, but
he's people are like, oh, in my lifetime, John Lennon was the hardest one to deal with. Kurt Cobain, like for me in my lifetime, Rob Williams I felt like he was my uncle who I never met because I grew up watching all of his movies.
Dude, he was the bomb.
Yeah, sure. But man, thanks for talking with us, man. You're really insightful, really fucking talented.
Thanks
Love your
so much, man.
I can't wait to see what you guys do next. I'm pumped. If the world ever goes back to normal, maybe we'll take a trip down to the South Shore, check you guys out.
I was saying to Steve, we got to do a show together for sure.
Oh, we'd love it. So we'd be so energetic together, probably.
Oh, dude, we'd have a blast. But on and off the stage, we'd be having tons of fun.
Oh my God.
You guys like to throw them back? You guys like to drink?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't see it. It's I'm drinking a beer right now.
Yeah, dude.
Let's assume we're gonna do that. Whatever the date is, I'll mark it on my calendar as to be determined. That will be an amazing evening for sure, man.
Sounds great, guys. Thank you so much, man. And anytime you want me to come on and chat about nonsense, let me know.
Oh, we love
We'll definitely do it again for sure. We like talking to you. This is freaking sweet.
All right, boys. Talk to you later.
All right, man. Be good. Peace.
Bye. Bye.
Conspiracy, it's the only crutch that you have on me. The hog in the house with all his rats. We bite our thumbs and never tip our hats.